Hello and welcome to the second part of the Power Platform security series on Customer Managed Keys. So in this part, I would like to focus on the setup and configuration of these Customer Managed Keys. And first thing is, if you have not done this before, have a look at this Microsoft Learn article that gives you really a great overview of what is going on and how you configure that thing. And in the following, I will just show you what I did. Inside of this configuration, I used a couple of optional steps. And the first step was I created a new environment. Because I did not want to destroy or mess around with my existing environments that I still needed, and I wanted to test it first. So first thing is this manager environment has to be in the same region where we configure the enterprise policy. We will come to that later. Second thing is only certain kind of environments can be used. So you cannot use trial and teams environments because they cannot be added to enterprise policy. And in my case, I just created new developer environments. So if you want to test it, just create some new developer environments that you can delete later on. Second thing, make sure that you have the correct resource provider setup. So if you go into Azure, then you need to make sure that you have here this Microsoft Key Vault and Power Platform registered. That's important. Then third thing, again, is an optional step. If you do not have any other resource group, create a new one. I created it here and gave it a name similar to my environments. And then the first important step is to create the key vault. And when you're doing that, be careful that this soft delete is enabled and that here this purge protection is also enabled. That's really critical if you want to use this later on. And if you're doing this setup, there are other configurations like private endpoints and so on. I did not configure that, but if you want, you can do that, of course. Once you set up your key vault and you want to create your key, the first thing that you might experience is that you see this kind of message here that you're not authorized. That was the case for me. So I thought, what can we do? Well, I forgot or missed the key vault administrator role to assign to my own user. So if you see this message, go here into IAM and select Key Vault Administrator, assign it to your user that sets up the whole thing, and then you should be fine. Once you have that, create the key. Again, here it's just a key. You use this type RSA, and then the key size, that's basically depending on your requirements. And what I also did not do is this key rotation. But that's something you have to take care of. So think about the rotation, activation date, expiration date, all of these things. This is your responsibility if you use these customer managed keys. Then, of course, once you have that, we need an enterprise policy. Well, what is that and how do you create it? Well, you just go into the services and then you say deploy a custom template. And in this custom template, you build your own and then you paste this kind of schema. Where did I get it from? Well, I mean, this is the Microsoft Learn side that I showed you at the beginning. And then you just put in, okay, what is the policy name? Where's the location? And that's critical. This location has to be in line with your environments. Then you check the key vault ID and the key name that you have. I will show you that in a second. Once you have that, this policy is created. And this is the first time you see something in the Power Platform Admin Center. So if you go to Power Platform Admin Center, once this policy is created, then you can see here that this policy is already available. But it's not complete. What you need to do is you need to grant the enterprise policy access to the key vault. So you go to your key vault and then you go again to access control. And this role must be assigned to this member. This is the policy. And once that is done, then you can configure your customer managed key. So you can select the policy, you click on edit, and then you have to wait. And what happens after you select here confirm is, and you will see that, it will say, hey, it's encrypting, which is what we want, but at the same time you have to be careful, because at the same time, while this is encrypting, you don't have access to anything in Dataverse. So it's just not available, and it might take a while. In my case, I just set up a plain vanilla demo environment, yeah, for my developers. It took around 1 hour and 5 minutes, yeah, but I did not configure anything. I have no app, nothing created in that. Yeah. If you're doing this the first time and in an existing environment, it can take a couple of days until your system is available. Yeah. So be careful if you want to do that in an existing environment, if it's not set up right from the beginning. Yeah. Once it's finished, things say it's encrypted, and then you will see all of your tables back. Okay, so that's it basically. Before we come to the summary, let me quickly show you a couple of things, how this actually looks like in my environment. And again, here is the site I would highly recommend you to read. Again, then we have here my environments, and the one I used are these two. I created two just for demo and testing purposes. They are developer. An important thing is, of course, managed, and the region is important. And then what I want to show you here is a bit the key vaults. So here's the key vault that I have. I told you about this access control, but what I want to focus on are the keys. So you go here, then you see your key, and inside of this key, you can have here different policies. And that's something you really have to care about, because if they're not Microsoft Managed Keys, then you're responsible for that. Of course, you can set up policies here, how to rotate things and so on, but that's your choice. What you're doing here. The other thing is, when you create the enterprise policy, you need this ID of the key vault. And the question is, hey, where do I find that? So if you're here, then you can actually go here to the JSON view, and on top you see here this resource ID, and that's what you need in the script. So it's a bit hidden, and you might have to look around a bit, but that's where you can find it. And then, of course, I mean, if you have your key, then you have to create this policy, and again, it's very simple. So you just come here, you say deploy a custom template. Let me click that. Then you come here and you copy paste this adjusted script and basically say, okay, that's it. Then you get this kind of policy. I have done it for my 2 environments. So that's what you get. And this policy needs then this additional right in the key vault. So you have to go back to the key vault and then make sure, hey, here this policy has access rights to this, so that it can read that. And the last step is then, of course, you go into the Power Platform Admin Center, Security and Compliance. You see here for this environment, things are still running. The encryption is still running. I started it. For the other one that I have, the one with the number 4, I already did that. So if you go here into Edit, then you can see it's encrypted. And if you want to add additional environments, you just come here. So you can select some of them that are managed and, of course, that are in the same region as your policy. But again, if you're just doing that, what will happen, and let me show you that, because that's really important for you to know, as long as things are encrypting, so it's running here, in this environment, we cannot see anything. So this is how it looks like, and after a while, once the encryption is finished, you can access your tables and everything again. But until then, you have to be patient. Okay, so that's it, what I wanted to share. Let's quickly go to the PowerPoint for the important things that I want to include in a summary. So what did we see in this and the previous video? Well, Customer Managed Key encryption requires configurations in different areas. Purview, maybe Azure, Power Platform Admin Center, Entra. Depends on where you go and what you want to see. Yeah? Next thing is, bring your own key is only supported until 2026. Remember that. Then we have additional effort, the maintenance, rotation of the key. That's our responsibility. Maybe we have additional costs because this thing only works in managed environments. We have additional risks. Yeah? So what is the meaning of this additional risk? So let's imagine somebody comes here. Let me go here. Go into my key. I open it and then I just delete it. If this happens, you will be locked out from your environment. Of course, there is a restore feature for a couple of days. But if you're not careful, then things might just be gone. So be very careful that nobody is messing around with these things. Of course, you gain additional flexibility and control, and maybe it's needed for you and your compliance regulations in your country or region. And at the end, well, if you ask, hey, how can you test whether this encryption is really in place or not? Well, there are only two kind of things. First thing is, you just come here, you just see, okay, the status. If you don't trust this, well, I mean, you can play around, delete the key, have a look at your environment. If you deleted the key, it should look like that. You should be kind of locked out. And then if you restore it, things will come back. So that's what you can test. But be careful if you want to do a live test in a prod environment. That's not something I would recommend. So test this out first in a developer or testing environment. Okay, that's it. I hope you found this interesting and useful. And as usual, thanks for watching and listening. And then till next time.